had been holding me back all this while. And so yeah, I started writing, and then it the thought came to me. I was speaking to an uncle of mine, which I mentioned in the beginning of the book, and he encouraged me, why don't you just write a book? And when I thought about it deeper, I realized that a lot of the things that I had felt stuck in are things that other persons actually feel the same way about. And so that's really how the book came about. And I've gotten very good reviews on it, and what I thought was actually true was that a lot of persons felt the same way, or do feel the same way from time to time.
Okay, wonderful. Can you share with us like some of those things that you said that mutually those persons would feel the same way? What were some of those stuff?
So, well, the biggest thing for me, which is the first chapter of the book, is the excuses that we tell ourselves, those things that we say that we can't do, we're not talented enough to do, or we don't have the education to do, or we don't have the time to do it. Those kind of things. That was one of the things that really stood out to me. The fact that we tell ourselves that we don't have, we're not, we're too old to do something, or we're too much time has passed for us to do something. We can't do it again because of maybe a situation that happened to us, or we even start blaming other persons for things, that kind of a thing. And another part of the book that I hold very deeply is the fact that I speak about the fact that we feel as though we're not enough, right? What we
Mm,
bring to the table, is not enough, and we'll have persons tell us that we are not enough, right?
mhm, mhm.
You There's always something else that we need, or we lack, and as such, we can't advance to maybe where someone else is that we would probably desire to be, right? Or even the very desires that we have for ourselves, we look at somebody else and say, oh yeah, them can do it because they have this level of education, or they have this level of experience, or that kind of a thing. But then we look at ourselves and said, I can't do that. I'm not enough to do that. What I already have isn't enough, and that's really not true. I've a lot of persons told me that they felt stuck in where they were, or where they are. They feel stuck in it, right? They feel like that's the only thing that they can do. They don't feel as though they have the resources or the money to pursue those things that they want to achieve. And the funny thing about it is that if we look beyond that, a lot of the time, sometimes it just takes a simple opening of your mouth to speak and say, this is what I want, or this is what I desire, for it to be attracted to you.
So, and that's a very interesting point. We have to speak over our lives. That's very
Indeed.
important, Asha. Thanks for
Yeah.
bringing that up. So, what would you say then? What makes this book very unique?
Well, the unique touch that I ended up putting to this book is that at the end of each chapter there is a poem. Poems are something that I have always used as a way to express myself from a child growing up. And my mother had always encouraged me to write a book of poems. Personally, which it came again from me telling myself a lie that nobody would read a book of poems. Like, that don't make no sense, right? I know there are poem books out there with lovely poems. I just didn't think anybody would want to read my poems. So what I did in a spin-off to that is that at the end of each chapter, I inserted a poem that pretty much sums up what the chapter was about, right? And I think that's the unique spin that I have on this book. But outside of that, I think it's very relatable. I literally wrote this book in the most vulnerable state that I was in. And I think because of
Wow.
that,
Mhm.
it resonates with those who read it.
Wow. I'm totally inspired. So, what would you say then, or what message do you hope that persons would take away from your book?
Well, I really do hope that those who read it will
Hmm.
be encouraged to walk in their truth. Whenever I sign a book for someone, that's really what I put in there, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Live your truth, live out your authenticity. Don't allow yourself or anyone else to tell you things that hinder you from pursuing the things that you want to pursue. Go get
I
it.
love what you said.
Yeah,
You said don't allow yourself, which is very important, to hinder you from, going further.
yeah.
You can continue.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I really want persons to get when they read it, and also for them to do their own personal reflection. I think a lot of the times where we keep going in the day-to-day cycle of life that we barely take the time to stop and reflect on our life, and it's not until when we're forced to stop that we get to a point where we have to kind of look at things. And sometimes at that point in time in our minds, because it's never too late, once you have life and breath in you and energy, you can do what you want to do. But in our minds we think that, oh, it's too late, or we think that too much time has passed, as I said before. But I think it's important for us to make a very make it very intentional to do a
Mhm.
self reflection every now and again, just
Yeah,
to kind of pace ourselves to see where we're at and to ensure that where we're going is actually where we want to go, rather than waiting
excellent.
until we get to that point where something stops us, right, before we kind of stop and self reflect.
Excellent. I think we ought to do more reflections. And
Mm-hmm.
so happy that you now have your book in which, a lot of persons will get that eye opener. So can you
Mm-hmm.
share a memorable experience, when you were writing the book, and what year did you write or publish the book rather?
So I published the book in 2022. um Memorable experience while writing. um hmm I don't know, it wasn't while writing, it was after the
Mhm.
fact. So once the book was finished and I sent it off to be edited, and then I received it to do my own final review. At that point in time it got real, and I started to panic. Right?
Wow, you
I
panic.
panicked
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
I was like, when I thought about all of what I said, because as I say, I went into a vulnerable state, and there are things that I said in the book that really and truly, if you did catch me one way or another day, you wouldn't get me say it, right?
Wow.
But I really did. I was very vulnerable in the book, and so when that time came for it to go now to be published and public, I got scared, right? And I remember that fear washing over me,
Mhm.
to the point where I literally had to stop and talk myself out of it, because at one point I was like, you know what, it's okay. I don't think I want to bother publishing this book. It's fine. I wrote it and it's fine, right? But I think that was just the enemy trying to get me to again um live the very thing that I was writing about, right?
You never know.
Um,
Mhm.
yeah, so I kind of felt as though I was lying to myself that this would have been a good book, so to speak, right? And so I had to overcome that. But that was something that I vividly remember. It's a very scary place to be in as a first time writer, because you don't know what you're gonna get, you don't know what to expect. And I had to remind myself that the book is not for everybody, and some persons may read it and have one opinion, others will read it and have another opinion. That's out of my hands. All I need to know is that I wrote it and it's out there.
Mm-hmm. You know, I'm so excited for you, Asha. So tell us, where can we get your book?
Okay, so you should be able to get it on Amazon. And I say should be able to because I did some changes as it relates to Amazon. So I'm not exactly certain, but for certain, you can get it on my website, which is activateassistja.com. You can order through there, or you can send me a DM through Instagram, or you can send me a WhatsApp to make your order. My Instagram is Asha_Bing. So you can send me a DM there to order. Or you can send me a WhatsApp message at 876-864-9867.
You know, from one author to the next, I want to salute you on your writing. And I'm hoping to
Thank
get my
you.
copy, hoping that you guys out there will get your copy as well. This is one not to be missed. And this is one definitely worth your library collection. Her name again, Ashley Bingham. The book is entitled The Lies I Told Myself. And Asha, we want to thank you for just pouring, you're all into this book. This is an exclusive one, where you get to meet Asha, you know, up close and personal with her story. All right, that's all the time that we have for today. Thank you so much, Miss Bingham, for being here. And I want to
You're
thank my
most
technical
welcome.
team for doing, the utmost for this production. Looking forward next week, same time, same place, right here on Southside Podcast, where we will have another author, of course, that we will feature. Thank you for viewing and do enjoy your evening.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Be good.
All right. Thank you so much.
Such a pleasure having you, Asha. We need to bring you back. That means you have to write more books for us.
Yeah. It's in the brain. It's in the
And
All
brain.
Mr.
right, next
Martin,
time I
thank you
will
so
speak
much.
better here.
Awesome job as usual.
Sure. No problem.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Mr. Martin, you will take us out.
It's shortened.
All
Yes,
right.
all right.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye bye, Asha. How do I end?
All right, so we have contacts, so we're good here. I will edit, all right?